I've been told by a veteran of Korea that the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq weren't real wars. Korea was, of course. Vietnam? Now that was a real war, he said. It seemed an odd thing to say, especially from a veteran. Why did he think they weren't so-called real wars? Were people not dying? Were families not being given folded flags? Is it the number of flag-draped coffins? The number of limbs lost or lives changed? The suicides once they return home? Maybe the problem was that he didn't personally know anyone who was serving over there. Neither did I, though. In high school, sitting in history class, a former student came in to say hi to our teacher. He ended up telling the class about being wounded in Iraq. He told us how he was shot in the leg, the bullet barely missing a major artery. I was struck by the idea that this man had at one point been sitting in the same room that I was currently in. He was someone from my own community. That's something that stayed with me. I began looking through articles on the Columbus Dispatch's coverage of the wars. What were the wars like for the local soldiers, families, and their communities? There are stories of heroism and heartbreak. They are life-changing events, put to print, of uncertainty, worry, pride, and patriotism. Staff Sergeant Omer Hawkins had wanted to be a soldier since he was a little boy. Children are continually asked, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" The answers are always changing. That wasn't the case for Omer Hawkins.
His idea of a Saturday morning wasn't always cartoons, it was the news first. You know, he was politics, government, history, anything like that. He had a very extensive reading. Every book he got from the library or from the bookmobile was military. In fact, he wrote a letter to the Army here in Hillsboro, to National Guard unit here in Hillsboro. He was 10 years old. And he made it interest be known that he wanted to join. And he asked them if he could join. He never asked, "May I?" It was, "Can I?" He never asked their permission. He just wanted to know if it was possible. He asked me to mail it, and I put it in my Bible. And he was always like that. And he had every intention of being a career soldier. That was all he lived for. Flag and country in the military. Well, he was killed on a Wednesday evening about 11 o'clock. And the paper that came out had a little blurb in the corner of a Humvee that was in flames. And it said 3 soldiers killed by an IED in Ramadi, Iraq. And I looked at that and I thought, oh my gosh, these poor guys, you know, they've been incinerated. Saturday morning about 6, my youngest son called me. I asked him what was wrong. And he said, "Mom, OT was killed in Iraq this morning." And I just stood there. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. I always knew that was how he was going to go. But no matter how long you prepare or how long you know that something like this is going to happen, it just wrenches your heart out. Because you'll know you'll never see him again, that they're gone. Then I found out that the picture in the paper was actually my son's Humvee.
The people who fight our wars are folks from our communities. They're someone we went to school with, our neighbors and friends, our families. I still think about what the Korean vet said. I think his point was that somehow Afghanistan and Iraq weren't as tough as previous conflicts, that he had had it worse. Korea was bad, but so were the wars of the past decade. In his book, Jarhead, Anthony Swafford wrote, "Every war is different. Every war is the same." The truth is, the wars were very real for those who served, for their families and friends who worried back home, for the children without fathers or mothers, and for the communities who welcomed home their troops.
He accomplished a lot in 13 years. It just amazes me because sometimes it'll take a soldier a lifetime to get through everything he accomplished in the short time he was in. He was extremely intelligent. He was very warm-hearted. He loved people. But before all others, even family, his country and his flag was first, and it stayed first. There's not a day doesn't go by that I don't think about him. And I'm just so proud of him, I can't understand it. My heart just busts with pride for him.